a fathomless green abyss, stretching out like an empire that has never known defeat. From orbit, it appears peaceful, a silent, breathing ocean of green. But break through the foliage, and the reality is profoundly different. This is an active, three-dimensional war zone. We are plunging through 5 vertical layers of extreme adaptation. From the burning, wind-battered peaks down through a rotting, toxic understory into the lightless, flooded trenches of the jungle floor. In this green empire, brute force is rarely enough. Survival belongs to the unseen, to those carrying lethal chemistry, and predators who turn the jungle itself into a snare. The dive into the shadows starts here. Welcome to the penthouse of the Amazon, the Emergent Layer. This is not a lush paradise. It is a solar oven battered by gale force winds and relentless UV radiation. To survive up here requires radical anatomical solutions. Meet the Toco Toucan. Forget the friendly, colorful caricature. That massive beak is a highly calibrated biological radiator laced with a complex network of blood vessels. It acts as a giant heat sink, dumping lethal body heat into the searing wind. But it is also a brutal weapon. A lightweight, hollow pair of lethal forceps, perfectly designed to raid the nests of lesser birds. The falling debris triggers a reaction in the shadows. The blue Morpho. That blinding neon flare is a structural illusion. Its wings hold no blue pigment. Microscopic prisms trap and reflect light, creating a visual flashbang to disorient predators in mid-air. But when it lands, it folds its wings, mirroring a dead leaf perfectly, creating a visual ghost. The Morpho settles on a branch, trusting its disguise. But just inches away, the environment itself is moving. It is a Boa Constrictor. 100 pounds of pure muscle perfectly camouflaged against the bark. The serpent ignores the insect. Its senses are locked on a much larger target hidden in the foliage. The boa does not crush the bones of its catch. With every panicked exhalation the victim makes, the coils simply eliminate the empty space. It acts as a living tourniquet, severing the blood supply to the brain in seconds. The struggle is violent, but brief. A sudden clash between predator and prey sends deep vibrations through the ancient trunk, descending into the permanent twilight of the understory. Down here, less than 2% of sunlight penetrates the canopy. It is a claustrophobic realm of suffocating humidity. Along the bark, a massive biological operation is underway. This is a leaf-cutting ant. Millions of individuals working with absolute synchronization. They do not consume the vegetation. They transport it underground to cultivate a specialized fungus, their only source of fuel. But in this ecosystem, even the farmers are hunted. One worker breaks from the procession. It drops its payload. Its movements become erratic, robotic. An invasive parasite, Ophiocordyceps, has hijacked its nervous system. Inside, the ant fungal threads wrap around the muscle fibers, forcing it to climb and lock its jaws onto a leaf vein. The host is consumed from within. Finally, the fruiting body erupts from the skull, releasing a silent rain of lethal spores onto the trails below. The hollow shell hits the decaying floor. Down here, in the perpetual dark, sight is useless, but the vibration is everything. And the ruler of this rotting graveyard has felt the impact. Meet the Goliath bird eater. Its sheer size is terrifying, but its anatomy is alien. It does not move using a traditional muscular system. Its legs are powered by pure hydraulics. It forces pressurized fluid into its limbs to extend them. A walking biological engine operating on blood pressure alone. A severe puncture wound wouldn't just injure it. The spider would literally deflate. Despite its name, it rarely hunts in the canopy. Its domain is the mud, and its method of execution is agonizingly slow. The 1-inch fangs do not merely deliver paralyzing venom. They inject a highly corrosive cocktail of digestive enzymes directly into the victim's bloodstream. Because the Goliath cannot chew solid meat, it must wait. It holds its prey alive in the dark, while the chemicals dissolve the victim's internal organs into a liquid broth. Only then does it consume the remains. Female Goliaths can rule the same burrow for up to 25 years, outliving most mammals in this forest. They are the absolute apex of the micro-jungle. But suddenly the spider stops. It raises its front limbs. Its sensory hairs are not picking up the tremor of an insect. They are registering a massive displacement of air. Footsteps, soft but unimaginably heavy, compressing the wet soil just yards away. The vibrations resolve into an unmistakable shape. A jaguar. The undisputed super predator of this continent. Unlike other big cats that rely on exhausting chases or suffocating bites to the throat, the jaguar is built for instant execution. Its skull is a heavily reinforced vault, anchoring jaw muscles so dense they are designed to drive canine teeth directly through the brain case of its prey or shatter thick reptilian armor. Despite weighing 300 pounds, it navigates the dead leaves in absolute silence. Its coat is a calculated optical disruption. The dark rosettes mimic the dappled light of the understory, allowing massive bulk to seamlessly dissolve into the shifting shadows. The cat ignores the spider entirely, moving steadily toward a break in the trees. Ahead, an ancient rotting trunk has collapsed under its own weight, tearing open the dense canopy and flooding a section of the ground with harsh, direct sunlight. And in this rare, illuminated space, where the rules of stealth are completely abandoned, poison dart frogs thrive. Brilliant splashes of gold, neon blue, and crimson against the decaying wood. Unlike the butterfly we saw earlier, these colors are no illusion. They are a definitive chemical warning. These frogs do not generate their own venom. They are biological refineries. They actively hunt toxic mites and ants, extracting the lethal alkaloids from their prey and concentrating them directly into their own skin glands. A single golden frog carries enough batrachotoxin to permanently stop the hearts of 10 humans. The poison forces the victim's nervous system into overdrive, locking nerve channels open until the muscles simply seize and fail. Because of this absolute defense, the frog has lost the need to hide. It sits in plain sight, utterly untouchable. But chemical warfare dictates every aspect of life here. At the edge of the forest where the jungle meets the water, the battle takes a different form. A sheer vertical cliff of exposed red earth. Flocks of macaws are not gathering for social display or searching for nesting materials. They are performing a highly specific, mandatory medical procedure. The seeds they consume high in the canopy are heavily defended by plant-based neurotoxins. To survive their own daily diet, the birds must intentionally ingest this specific kaolin clay. The minerals act as an internal sponge, binding directly to the toxic compounds in their stomachs, neutralizing the poison before it can breach the intestinal wall and enter the bloodstream. It is a biological pharmacy, a daily prescription keeping them alive. But concentrating in such massive numbers to feed draws immediate attention. A sudden shadow or a shift in the wind, and the flock erupts into the air. We leave the cliff behind and drop to the dark water moving silently below. Hidden among the flooded roots lies the most massive serpent on Earth, a green anaconda. It pays no attention to the chaos above. Driven by the oppressive heat, it is simply returning to its true domain. The colossal frame slides effortlessly from the bank, breaking the surface without a single splash. As the giant dissolves into the murky current, it pulls us down with it, erasing the sun and plunging us into the drowned half of the Amazon. A lightless, suffocating trench where totally different senses take over. The anaconda fades into the gloom, leaving nothing but a turbulent wake. Down here, in the flooded arteries of the forest, light is completely choked out by dissolved tannins and mud. Eyesight is heavily compromised. To dominate this blind world, you must feel the water breathe. a school of red-bellied piranhas passing by. Forget the cinematic myths of mindless, boiling frenzies. These are highly disciplined, surgical scavengers. Embedded along their flanks is a lateral line system, a network of hypersensitive pores detecting the microscopic water displacement of a struggling animal yards away. And when they find a target, their anatomy is built for maximum efficiency. Their jaws do not crush or tear. The triangular teeth interlock perfectly, leaving zero space between them. When the jaw snaps shut, it acts as a single, continuous, serrated blade, shearing through flesh and bone with zero mechanical resistance. A school of piranhas can dismantle a carcass with terrifying mathematical precision. They are the ultimate biological disposal system of the flooded forest. But in the Amazon, no throne is secure. A new shadow tears through the gloom. Meet the river otters. Reaching 6 feet in length, they are the undisputed apex predators of this submerged world in Amazonia. The locals call them river wolves. In this zero visibility environment, they do not rely on eyesight. Their faces are equipped with rigid, highly innervated whiskers that act as a sophisticated hydrodynamic radar. They can literally feel the invisible trails left by fleeing fish in the current. And unlike the solitary assassins of the jungle, they hunt as an organized, militarized unit, communicating through high-frequency shrieks. They herd, trap, and systematically execute their targets. To a giant otter, a swarm of piranhas is not a threat. It is simply prey. Their muscular, streamlined bodies grant them a sheer aquatic speed that easily outmaneuvers the frantic fish. And when they strike, their bite is devastating. Equipped with heavy, bone-crushing canines and molars, an otter effortlessly shatters the rigid, armored skull of a piranha. What began as a terrifying swarm of scavengers is systematically dismantled and consumed. Further down the river system, where the deep channels merge with the shallow, sun-baked mudflats, the frantic pace of survival seems to pause. Here, we find the capibara. The largest rodent on Earth, weighing up to 150 pounds. At first glance, their existence appears almost idyllic. They are highly social, gathering in large, tight-knit families. To escape the oppressive jungle heat and biting insects, they spend hours submerged in the shallows, grazing on aquatic weeds. Their anatomy is perfectly adapted for this semi-aquatic lifestyle. They have webbed feet for swimming, and their eyes, ears, and nostrils are positioned at the very top of their skulls, allowing them to breathe and observe while keeping their massive bodies hidden underwater. As they soak in the warm mud, they enter a state of deep relaxation, their heart rates slowing. They grooming each other with gentle nibbles. In the quiet shallows, the capybara feels perfectly secure. But in the Amazon, comfort is the most dangerous illusion. Often, the greatest threats in this jungle are the ones that simply refuse to move. Lying motionless in the sun-baked mud is the spectacled Caiman. Named for the heavy, bony ridge bridging its eyes, it is a masterpiece of prehistoric efficiency. This is not a creature of frantic energy or long pursuits. Its survival strategy is built on absolute terrifying patience. A caiman can slow its metabolism to a near halt, effectively pausing its own life. It can survive for months without a single meal. And when it does feed, nothing is wasted. Its stomach acids are among the most corrosive in the animal kingdom, capable of dissolving solid bone and thick scales. It doesn't need to patrol the river. It simply integrates into the shoreline and waits. Even with its eyes completely closed, it is actively hunting. Its jawline is covered in hundreds of microscopic dome pressure receptors. This biological sensor array reads the water like a seismograph, detecting the faintest ripples of movement from yards away. It can sit paralyzed for hours, feeling the geometry of the river through vibration alone. But this mastery of the shallows ends where the riverbed drops off. If we leave the muddy banks and drift into the deep main channels, the environment turns hostile in a completely different way. The water here is black, choked with sediment and tannins. Total blindness. Yet something navigates this sunken labyrinth with effortless grace. Behold the river dolphin. Forget the sleek gray acrobats of the ocean. This is a predator molded entirely by the mud. Its pale, pinkish skin is a roadmap of scars, the result of a lifetime spent navigating sharp routes and fighting brutal territorial battles. In this zero-visibility labyrinth, traditional eyesight is a liability. Over millions of years, this dolphin has almost completely abandoned it. Instead, it operates through acoustic warfare. Its bulbous forehead houses a specialized organ that fires rapid bursts of high-frequency clicks, piercing the murky water. It doesn't just perceive blurry shapes. It receives a high-resolution, three-dimensional acoustic map. It can detect the exact density and internal organs of a fish hiding deep inside a hollow log. And its skeleton is uniquely unlocked. Unlike ocean dolphins, its neck vertebrae are completely unfused. It doesn't swim in stiff, straight lines. It snakes through the dense underwater roots like a serpent, bending its head at 90-degree angles to extract prey from the tightest, most claustrophobic crevices. Every sonar click it sends out echoes through the submerged timber, traveling outward through the dark arteries of the continent. And as those echoes fade into the immense, crushing weight of the river, you realize they are just one tiny pulse in a much larger entity. We have descended from the scorching, radiation-battered heights of the canopy, down through the toxic, fungal shadows of the understory, and into this blind, predatory underworld. Every single vertical layer, every rotting branch, every drop of black water is an active battlefield. This is not the peaceful, lush paradise sold in photographs. It is an ancient, flawless engine of evolution, a biological crucible where every organism is locked in a relentless, never-ending arms race of chemistry, camouflage, and raw biomechanics. 2.7 million square miles of unbroken canopy, and every single inch of it is fighting to survive. Thank you for descending with us into the beautiful and brutal reality of the Amazon. If this journey into the wild captivated you, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Our planet is filled with untamed frontiers, and we have only just scratched the surface. Join us on our next expedition as we explore another of Earth's most extreme ecosystems. Until then, stay curious and keep exploring.